Hi, everyone. I am so glad you are joining us for Every Kid Can Visit a National Park. And this session is taking us to the Great Smoky Mountains. And we have two rangers with us today, and they're going to show us where they are compared to where we are. I think most of you are joining us from Kansas. And also, I just want to say, make sure you have a little wiggle room around your desk so that you can maybe stand up because they are going to do some exciting things kind of at the end. So being prepped for that would be great. And make sure teachers let us know in the questions. If your kids have questions, the Rangers will be glad to answer those at the end or whenever needed. And please tell me where you're from and how many students, what grade level you are. I'm going to hand it over to these amazing Rangers, and they're going to tell us all about the tremendous trees in the Great Smoky Mountains.
Well, welcome everybody and good morning. My name is Ranger Morgan, and with me I have my coworker Ranger Kalia, and she's going to be awesome and help us out today with our PowerPoint and all of the technical stuff. So all we have to do is have a great time and learn some cool stuff. So yes, we are joining you guys from Great Smoky Mountains National Park. And our national park is actually so big that it's in 2 states. So part of our park is in Tennessee and the other part is in North Carolina. And that's where Ranger Callie and I are joining you from. We work in Cherokee, North Carolina. So right there, we've got a beautiful star, and that is where we are. But we are so glad to join you guys virtually. So I also hear that you guys are getting to visit all kinds of national parks from all across the country, which is awesome because there are so many all over the place. But one really cool thing is, although these parks look very different, we all have the same mission, and that is to preserve and to protect. And I know you guys probably know what protect means. That just means to keep something safe. To preserve might be a little trickier, and that just means to keep things the same. So that can be a really, really big job for a lot of different people. So to help us remember what our job is, we have a lot of different clues on our logo here. So I want you guys to take a second and think about something on our logo that we might want to preserve or to protect. All right, so one thing you guys might have noticed is this beautiful mountain we have in the background. And here in the Smokies, we have lots of mountains. You can kind of see behind me a little bit. Ours might not be quite as pointy or as tall, but they are still super duper cool and important. And the National Park Service, that mountain represents all landforms. So not only mountains, but also valleys, canyons, and even volcanoes. So we protect a lot of really cool landforms. Another thing you might have noticed would be this lake that we have in the background, kind of right there. Yeah, and that represents all of the different water systems within our country. So some parks have really, really cool lakes. Other parks might have a really cool rivers. We have a really, really beautiful river here in North Carolina called the Econolofty. I live right outside of it, so I get to see it every day. So we want to keep all of those waterways super clean and healthy.
I just want to say, if they're joining us from Wichita, we actually have an amazing where two rivers meet. And
Ooh.
it's a very special part. We have a Keeper of the Plains that a Native American designed, and it's where some of the Native Americans live. But our river isn't, we don't have a lot of mountains or a lot of greenery around it, but we definitely have where two rivers meet, and it's a really cool place right around that intersection too. Every night at 9 during the spring and summer, they have this fire that they go that's very symbolic. So students, if you haven't been down to the Keeper of the Plains, that's kind of the river. So our river might look a little different, but we do have a big river if they're joining us from Wichita here. So just wanted to interject. Thank you, Morgan. Sorry to interrupt, Morgan.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, you guys should definitely check that out. That sounds really cool. So if I'm ever in Wichita, I'm gonna pull up and see what it looks like. So that's awesome. Yeah, so we want to protect our water. We also have a bison on the bottom there, and that represents all different kinds of animals. So here in the Smokies, we don't have bison, but we have elk, we have bear, and we have lots of other really important creatures, even tiny little bugs that we want to make sure we're protecting. Yes. And you also notice we have a really cool shape to our logo, and that is an arrowhead. And that represents all of the history of this land, all of the culture, and all of the stories that we want to make sure that we're preserving and that we're telling for years and years to come, so that everybody can learn the full history of these lands, which is really, really important. And the last thing is a really good segue into what we're going to talk about today, and that is this beautiful sequoia tree that we have right in the middle. And that tree represents all kinds of different trees, but also all plants. So grass, bushes, and even beautiful little wildflowers. We want to make sure we're protecting all parts of our ecosystem. So that can get us started into what we're going to talk about today, and that is trees. So I know you guys, I know you're a little bit into your day, but I like to get my brain warmed up before we really dive into this topic. And we're going to do a little quiz to see what you guys already know about trees. So we're going to show some pictures. And if you think that that picture is a tree, I want you to give 2 big thumbs up. So yes, that picture is a tree. But if you think that picture is not a tree, you're going to do 2 big thumbs down. So no, that's not a tree. So let's see what our first picture is already up there. Let's see what you guys think. So yes, this is a tree. That's not a tree. No. Perfect. Yeah, that one's pretty easy. You guys got it. 2 big thumbs up. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Ah, y'all, it is so early. Yes, no, that's not a tree. You guys are smarter than me. Yes, so that's not a tree. That's a flower. Very good. See, it's all right. We can all make mistakes, guys. All right, this one. Yes, tree. No, not a tree. Perfect. I'm seeing some mixed signals here. Maybe this one's also not a tree. No, that one is a bush. Perfect. We've got one more. Ooh, I think you guys know this one. Yep. 2 big thumbs up. Yes, we finally found our tree, right? Amazing. Yes, so we have 2 beautiful trees right there.
High fives. And if you got it wrong, we're going to learn, you're going to tell us the difference so that we can tell, right? We're going to learn the parts and things like that. So see if you got it wrong, you'll now know for the next time.
Absolutely. Yep. And next time you'll be an expert. Perfect. So the first thing that we're going to learn about trees is all trees have a woody trunk. So you guys can see this picture here on the left. This tree is covered with thick, tough bark. And that's really, really important because it keeps the tree safe. It protects it from things that might harm it, and it protects it from the environment too. So it's kind of like how our skin keeps our body safe. So trees have these strong woody trunks, and other plants like flowers or grass, they have this stem here. So just this green stem, but they don't have any bark covering it. So that's how you can tell the difference. Another characteristic of trees is they grow really, really tall. So the tallest tree in the world actually is called Hyperion, and it is taller than the Statue of Liberty. It's taller than Big Ben. And if you wanted to be as tall as this tree, you would have to find 125 friends, and you'd all have to climb on top of each other, and then you would be as tall as this tree. So that's 379 feet. That is crazy tall. Very, very cool though. So trees can grow to be really, really tall. And in order to do that, they have to live a really, really long time. So trees can live for a super duper long time. And just like we talked about the tallest tree in the world, now we have a picture of the oldest tree in the world. And this tree is called Methuselah. And I think that is the coolest name ever. So we can all say it together because it's pretty fun. So Methuselah. Yeah, awesome. So to make sure you guys are still with me, I want you to think, how old do you think Methuselah is? And to do that, we're going to use our fingers. So each finger is going to represent 100 years. So if you think Methuselah is 100 years old, you hold up one finger, just like this. If you think Methuselah is 500 years old, you'll hold up 5 fingers like this. If you think Methuselah is 1,000 or older, 10 fingers. And if you're like, it's super old, you can just go crazy, flash them at me. I want to see it. Perfect. All right, let's think about it. Oh, I'm seeing lots of answers. Some people think 200. All right, maybe, 900. That's pretty old, right? All right. Oh, some people are flashing at me, and you would be correct. Yes, so all of our fingers are flashing, flashing. Methuselah is over 4,000 years old. So that's older than your parents. That's older than your grandparents. That's even older than your grandparents' grandparents. So Methuselah is super duper old and has probably seen a lot of really, really cool stuff.
Do you
So
know,
that's a really
Morgan,
awesome. Yeah.
where is Methuselah located? Do you know its placement?
I'm pretty sure that it is somewhere in China, but its exact location is actually a secret because they want to make sure that they keep it safe so nobody goes and messes with it. But I
That
believe
makes
it's somewhere in China.
somewhere in Asia. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, all good. These are good questions.
Yeah, and teachers, if your students have questions, make sure you throw them in the questions, and Morgan will answer them if possible. So your kids can put questions and type them in, and we'll get them answered for you.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, we know that trees grow really, really tall. So that's above the ground. But trees also grow below the ground. They have lots and lots of roots that help them find nutrients and water, and they help keep them planted so that they stay upright. So we like to say that they look the same as above, so below. So they grow above their branches and below their roots. So they kind of look the same, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Another thing about trees is they are really, really important to a lot of our animals. They can provide shelter, so they're homes for a lot of animals, like our owl here. And even in the Smokies, we have lots of black bear, and they like to live in these trees too. But one thing that makes them such great homes is because trees also provide food for a lot of animals. So we have some nuts that grow on trees, there are berries that grow on trees, and even some animals just eat the leaves of the trees. So that's a good meal for this hungry caterpillar right down there. And
Well, and
that's really,
I'm
yeah.
so sorry to interrupt. I just want to say, you mentioned the black bear, and we actually have some sessions to learn all about the black bear. Some of them live in the West region, some of them are in your region. So teachers or students, there's 2 or 3 opportunities to learn just about the black bear versus just trees in general. Just wanted to make a connection for the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Black bear are really cool because they live almost everywhere in the country, which is pretty awesome to find an animal that can live in such different ecosystems. But yes, so we have ours here and they like to live in trees, which is pretty cool. So yeah, trees can be homes, but they're also like grocery stores. So the animals don't even have to leave their house to get their food, which I'm really jealous of. And not only do animals rely on trees for food, but so do we. A lot of things that we eat grow on trees. So you're still at school, so we have another quiz for you guys. We are going to show some more pictures, and it is your job to decide, does this thing grow on a tree? And you're going to give me a big old triangle. We're going to keep the motions fun. Or if you think that doesn't grow on a tree, a big X. So no, that's not a tree, or it doesn't grow on a tree. And yes, this grows on a tree. All right, so what's our first item? Ooh, apples. All right. I really like those. Let's see. So yes, this grows on a tree. No, this doesn't grow on a tree. What do we think? Ooh, all right. Yeah, you guys did pretty good. Yes, this does grow on a tree. Maybe some of you guys in the fall have been apple picking. Lots of different orchards you can go and you can walk along, pick your own apples, and you can see the trees that these fruits grow on. So yes, those do grow on trees. Perfect. All right, what's our next item? Oh, these are my favorite, blueberries. So yes, these grow on trees. No, blueberries don't grow on trees. What do we think? This one's a little trickier. I'm seeing some yeses, I'm seeing some nos. Huh, that's a little tricky, but no, blueberries don't grow on trees. Yeah, so blueberries actually grow on bushes. And that can be kind of tricky because we talked about having woody trunks, and that bush does have woody trunks, but the difference is they have lots of little stems that are woody and not just one big, strong trunk. Bushes also don't normally grow as tall as trees. They're pretty short. So that's another way you can tell the difference. All right, what else are we maybe getting from trees? Some walnuts. Okay, so yes, walnuts are on trees. No, walnuts aren't on trees. Hmm. Yes, you guys are correct. Yes, walnuts do grow on trees. You might have gotten a hint from our slide before that they do grow on trees, and a lot of animals like to eat yummy walnuts just like us. Perfect. All right, hopefully your brain's not too tired because we've got one more. All right, pineapple. This one's pretty tricky. Let's see if you guys are on it today. So, yes, grows on a tree. No, that doesn't grow on a tree. Hmm. Oh, I'm seeing lots of both. I'm seeing some just head shaking, like who knows? And the answer is no! Pineapples don't grow on trees. And this one really got me when I first started learning about them. I thought they totally grew on trees, but they actually just grow on the ground right here. So you can see just pineapples on the ground and they have the little leaves around them. So that one might have surprised you. And you can go home and tell your parents that, hey, did you know pineapples don't grow on trees? Because I had no idea. So very good job, guys. Now we know a little bit more about where our food comes from. Perfect. Now, if you guys are able to, I want you to see if there's a window in your classroom, I want you to look outside and tell me, do you see leaves on the trees? And if you don't have a window, that's okay. Try to remember to on your way to school if there were leaves on the trees or not. So I'm looking outside my window. And I'm not really seeing any leaves. I'm seeing a lot of branches, right? So that's probably because it's winter time. And we know that some trees lose their leaves in the winter and other trees, they keep them. So I have one and it has some leaves on it, but they look different. And the way we can tell these apart is if a tree has broad leaves, or is a deciduous tree, their leaves look like your hands. You guys can hold out your hand, and that's your broadleaf tree. And these are the trees that do lose their leaves in the winter and the fall. So in the fall and the winter, the broadleaves fall to the ground, but our evergreen trees or our conifers have really, really tiny leaves, and they look like little needles. And these trees are green the whole year. So they never lose their leaves. They stay on all winter long. So that is two different kinds of trees. But have you ever wondered, why is that? Why do some trees get to keep their leaves and other trees lose them all fall and have to regrow them in the spring? Well, this is something I've definitely asked myself before. And we have a little story from some of our Cherokee friends, and they have the answer to this question. They've lived on this land for thousands and thousands of years, so they've had a lot of time to learn about this ecosystem and about the world. And they have a story that they have told us we can share with you today, and it also goes back 1,000 years. And it starts with our little friend Sparrow right here. And Sparrow was flying around one fall day, having a great time with all of his friends, and suddenly he hurt his wing. So Sparrow couldn't fly as well. He's only got one wing flapping around. And if you want to flap like Sparrow, you can totally do that with me. So he's flapping around. And then his family, it's time for them to go south for the winter. It's too cold where he lives, so he needs to migrate. But Sparrow's wing is hurt, so he can't migrate with his family. So Sparrow has to stay behind, and he tells his family, it's okay, I'll find somewhere warm and safe to stay. So Sparrow hops on over to the trees. And first, he goes to Oak Tree, and he asks Oak Tree, your leaves are so broad and big, you can keep me warm this winter. Can I stay with you? And Oak Tree says, no, Sparrow, I don't want you to stay with me. You have to find somewhere else. And Sparrow was sad, but he kept going. So Sparrow hops on over to the next tree, and he finds the maple tree. And he says, oh, maple tree, I hurt my wing and I can't fly south for the winter. Can I stay with you and your beautiful leaves and stay warm? And Maple said, no, Sparrow, I don't really want you to stay with me this winter. You're just going to have to go somewhere else. And Sparrow said, okay. And he flew around for the rest of the day to all the trees in the forest, and each of them said no. And at the end of the day, the last tree in the forest was the pine tree. So Sparrow goes up to Pine Tree and says, Pine Tree, I hurt my wing and I can't fly south for the winter. Can I stay with you? And Pine Tree thought that his leaves looked very different than the others. They were just small, skinny needles, and he didn't know if they could even help Sparrow. But he decided to be kind to him, and he says, of course, Sparrow, my needles might be small, but you can totally stay with me this winter. And so Sparrow and Pine Tree spent the winter together, and Sparrow's wing healed. So when his family came back in the spring, they were all able to fly around together. Now, the creator was watching all of this take place and then decided to call a meeting of the trees. The creator was not happy that the broadleaf trees were not kind to Sparrow and did not help him when he needed help. So he decided that every winter the broadleaf trees would lose their leaves because they weren't kind. But the pine tree who helped Sparrow are able to keep their leaves. So that is one story of why some trees keep their leaves and some don't. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we talked a lot about Sparrow, but what are some other animals that live in trees? Lots of things live in trees, right? So now we're going to talk about some of those other animals that live in trees. And this is where we're going to get all of our wiggles out. So make sure you guys have a little bit of space and make sure you're warmed up. And we're going to act out some of these animals that we find in trees. So our first is a squirrel. I'm sure you guys have all seen squirrels before. They love to live in trees. And this one looks really happy because he has an apple. So if you want, you can be a squirrel with me and eat your apple. Nom, 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 nom. Big ol' apple. Or if you want, you can shake your fluffy tail. They have cute fluffy tails. Shake your fluffy tail. Yeah, or munch on your treat. Beautiful. Oh my gosh. Yes. You guys are awesome squirrels. You're hungry squirrels too. You guys are chomping. Awesome. Perfect. All right. Let's come back to being people because we have some more animals to look at. All right, we have a little tiny tree frog, and it looks like it's jumping. So if you have room and you want to jump about in your classroom, be just like a tree frog. If you don't have room, you can jump in your seat just like me. I don't have space to jump around. Perfect, yes. So little tree frogs will live in trees and they'll jump about. Amazing. Yeah, you guys are really good jumpers. You would be awesome, awesome tree frogs. Perfect. All right, let's come back. And our next animal is a woodpecker. And one cool thing about woodpeckers is they have a really strong beak. And you can see this one is using that beak to beat into the tree bark and find some bugs. They like to eat bugs that live inside the tree. So we're going to use our big strong beaks and we're going to look for bugs. Look for so many bugs. We're so hungry. Perfect. Whoa, some of you guys can go really, really fast. Whoa. You would not be hungry woodpeckers. You would be super well fed. Perfect. All right, let's come back and see what our next animal is. Oh, perfect. It's a cute little jumping spider. And this can be a little maybe scary to some people, but just look at their cute little eyes and their little front legs there. We call those pedipalps, and that's how they eat. So if you want, you can make a spider with your fingers like itsy bitsy spider, or you can use your little pedipalps and you can wave, or you can clean yourself. Maybe you just had a big juicy bug and you've had a good meal, so you gotta clean yourself up. Yeah, perfect. Oh, yes, you guys are really, really amazing spiders. Perfect. All right, let's see what else lives in trees. Oh, this one's my favorite. This is our bat. And bats are really cool because this video is actually upside down. Bats hang from their feet and they dangle upside down and they live in trees. So this little friend is just waking up, about to fly around all night long. So let's stretch our wings and get ready for a big night of flying and eating bugs. Yeah. Oh,
There's
that feels
actually,
good.
you bring this up, there's actually a session on bats this afternoon. So if you guys, they're going to talk about the differences between a bat and a bird, though, just because,
Ooh.
but you can learn more about bats today, too, if you want to. And remember, you can access our sessions afterwards, too. So um, another connection to the rest of our day.
Yeah, absolutely. I might want to join that. I love bats. They're so cool. Perfect. And you guys are amazing bats. So maybe if you go to the session, you can practice your stretching too. Yeah. Amazing. All right. Let's see what else lives in trees. These are our beautiful black bears. And this friend right here, he's got a bit of an itch on his back. So he's using the tree as a back scratcher. Not only can trees be homes, but they can also be back scratchers. So we're gonna scratch, scratch, scratch. If you want to show us your claws, you can show us your bear claws. Yeah, perfect. Yes. Amazing. Wow. You guys are great actors and actresses. I think that you would all be wonderful, wonderful animals. So, thank you guys for participating and being a little silly with us this morning. I know I always like to start my day off this way, so it's super awesome. But we are coming to the end of our time together, and to help you remember all of the fun things we talked about today, we have a little poem. So, it goes, look up, look down, look all around. What animals do you see? Are the leaves green or are they on the ground? So we can do it together this time. Look up, look down, look all around. What animals do you see? Are the leaves green or are they on the ground? Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. You guys did amazing. Thank you again for joining us. And I hope you guys get to learn a lot of really, really cool stuff from all the national parks today.
Um, Ranger Morgan, I can't thank you guys enough. And Kalia, thank you for joining us today. I learned a lot. So now if you quiz me on the pictures, I know to look for one stem or multi-stems, and it didn't matter. It's not like all fruits grow in trees or all fruits grow in bushes. So now I can look and now when I look at a tree, I think about not just the leaves and the bark, but all the animals that might be in there too. So thank you. Mrs. Shaper's class from second grade here in McLean. Wichita just wanted a quick question about, can you tell us again about the woodpeckers in trees? Do they live in them? Do they peck them just for the food, or do they also use it for a habitat? Because we have just 1 minute left, and that was a question that came through.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, woodpeckers, they also use the tree as their home. So it's kind of like we were talking about like a caterpillar, how it'll use the tree to live on and also eat its leaves. So it's the 2-for-1, one-stop shop, grocery store and house, which I think we need to get on that as people because that would make my life so much easier.
It does. So thank you again for sharing, all the way from Great Smoky Mountains National Park. And I really, really appreciate you guys coming and joining us for this learning venture that we're doing today. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.